Hello. I'm back. Sorry I missed you on Tuesday. I was still feeling very ill and just honestly couldn't be bothered. I just kind of was laying down. But on Wednesday, yesterday, I woke up. I was feeling pretty freaking good again. And I feel like I'm shouting over the outside noise of my neighborhood once again. I'm sorry, it's part of the ambiance of my videos. That's the background. Yesterday I was feeling Wednesday was yesterday. I woke up, I felt pretty good, and I decided, you know what? I've had these concert tickets for a long time. I'm gonna go see the legendary Mark Ribble, which I have some clips.
Batten down the hatches, prepare the side door, emergency door, bolt the damn door. There's a little bomb and it's gonna focus up if we don't come together and do it right now. Gotta love each other right fucking now. If we don't, do what the bomb is gonna go. If we don't, love each other right fucking now. Then the nuclear bomb is going off. Bitch, do it quick.
Gratuitous foot shots. Do you like this kind of content? You should subscribe to my OnlyFans. I've got feet, I've got boobs, I've got feet and boobs together sometimes. But I've had actually a pretty eventful week. So I went to Mark Ribble last night. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name right. My friend calls him Mark Ribby, and as you can see, things got pretty fucking wild. Oh my god, it's like lightning outside. These people need to get off the stage. They're gonna get rained on, and they have electrical equipment. They need to get the fuck out of here. Anyway, I've never seen a performer whip a crowd into a frenzy like that in my entire life. I was fully in it. I feel like all of my chakras were opened. I feel like I it was like an emotional laxative. I feel unclogged. I feel free. My face hurt from smiling so much after I saw this guy. He's just fantastic. If you get a chance, go. And then yesterday in therapy, I don't know, was the background noise too much? My life is just very noisy. Speaking of, so I finally had an appointment with a psychiatrist. I was waitlisted for like 2 months before I got in to see this guy. And I wanted to go to him for some more, so there's the Xanax and the Valium that I'm on. And then, but those are like emergency rescue drugs. Those are like, oh my god, I'm feeling really anxious, take something to calm down, right? But the idea is that I want a baseline anxiety medication that will keep me always at a lower level of anxiety, so that when I have little anxiety flare-ups, they don't get so high that I need the Xanax, more than twice a week, which is especially good because it's like addicting and I'm like an addict and all that sort of stuff. So that was fine. He prescribed me medicine called Buspar, which is like buspirone. My sister is on it, and she says it works really well. But she said it made her gain a lot of weight, which I'm going to have to be careful of because, don't mention this often, I used to be really overweight. I'm overweight now, but not by too much. I used to be in the obese category. I had pre-diabetes. I was insulin resistant. I had to, basically I had to lose weight like it was an emergency when I was a teenager because I had packed it on so quick, and they found it was because I had a hormone disorder, right? I have PCOS, and keeping your weight under control is like the number one way to prevent the worst side effects of PCOS, I guess, which would be like, I guess, I don't know, obesity and diabetes, that sort of thing. Anyway, I'm getting off track, but the Buspar, yeah. So I've started taking that over the past couple days, and I'll tell you what, it says online that it doesn't work right away, and the doctor told me it didn't work right away. I say bullshit, because I've been feeling so zen for the past day and a half, past 2 days, and it's hard to describe. It's like I am always on a low level of Xanax, and it fucking rules. I really am enjoying this. We'll definitely continue doing this into the future. But I guess I'm getting to the point here. So the doctor also said that he sort of pulled something on me that I had never, once in my life, ever considered, ever. And it was that the intake appointment for the psychiatrist, it's a long process. He asks you a lot of questions about your symptoms, what you're doing for your treatment, that sort of thing. Was real happy I had been off of alcohol for a year and 2 months, because basically he told me it just kind of opens the door for a lot of medications that I wouldn't be able to take otherwise. This, by the way, this is going to be relevant in a second, too. So he said that, great, so you've removed alcohol from the equation, which means that we're really just kind of seeing what's going on at a base level, being sober. I'm just getting the real raw experience of my own brain, And so we went through all of this. We went through briefly my history with medication, what I'm doing for my treatment plan, and what symptoms I'm having. And one of the symptoms I described to him, which is like the number one thing in my life that I am like not able to healthy habit my way around, I am not able to talk therapy my way around, is I've called it internet addiction. I've called it phone addiction. If you've watched my videos, I talk about my relationship with the internet all the fucking time, and how if I'm at work, if I look at my phone one time, I'm done for the day. Because I am so compulsively drawn to look at the phone or to play, there's this solitaire game on my computer, or just really if I start watching YouTube videos, it's like I get so distracted that I am literally unable to complete work. And it's extremely difficult to steer myself out of that loop. Once I'm in it, I get distracted and I cannot refocus afterwards. And along with that, so another symptom I have, which has always been a problem in my life. I would say I've had problems with it consistently since I was probably like, I'm not scratching my pussy, by the way. This is me scratching my inner thigh. And I am wearing underwear. You know, if you want to see me not wearing underwear, you could, you know. But anyway, so this has been a constant problem for me since I was a little kid, is that I am very sound sensitive. In the past, I have chalked it up to trauma, specifically the trauma of, I grew up in a home with domestic violence. I know you've heard this a million times from me, but when I was a little girl and I would try to be going to sleep at night, I had to listen to my parents' violent arguments through the wall. And so the story I've been telling myself is that, yeah, now I don't like when noise invades my space and I don't want to hear it. That's like, I'm saying that's like a trauma trigger for me, because it's like, I want it to be quiet and it won't be quiet. This is me, you know. But it goes farther than that, though. And this extends in ways that I can't explain due to trauma. I get distracted by bright lights. I get distracted by smells, like to a point where I find them intolerable. Like I am as upset as if I had an argument with a friend just from, like, there's a light outside of my window that I thought was new one day. It was a new light, and it was so bright that it like viscerally upset me for days. Even when I closed the blinds, or not the blinds, the curtains, when I closed the curtains and I couldn't see it anymore, when I would lay in bed in the other room, I have no possible way of seeing it. It would upset me laying in bed, even when I couldn't see it. Just the idea of the light being out here. Which, you know, that just doesn't strike me as being very normal. And I don't have a trauma explanation for that. I've always thought that maybe I had some mild form of autism. I don't, you know, like, it's possible, right? But anyway, so this doctor, he listened to all of this, and he said something that just, like, blew my mind, which is that he thinks that I have ADHD. Now, he can't diagnose me with it. I have to get a formal assessment, which I'm going to do in November. But ever since he said that, I kind of can't unsee it in my life. I can't unsee the fact that I am distracted and daydreaming most of the day. And it's making so many pieces fit into place for me. Like, I wonder if you remember when I was talking about my friend Will invited me to his family cabin, and I got, like, so irritated because it was, you know, it was a lot of time, and I realized kind of full circle, you know, I'm not mad at him, I'm mad at me. Because I waste so much time in my life being distracted on the internet, and I'm like chalking it up to sort of a moral failing of mine, that I can't undistract myself. The fact that I have to literally sit in silence with my phone on the other side of the room, no headphones, no nothing, no window browsers open, to be able to focus on my job, because if anything gets in there, I am just, you know, like, sometimes it's okay, but I run the risk of not being able to function at my job for the rest of the day. Or even when I am performing my job, it's like I am constantly getting up, I'm walking to the window, I'm petting the cat, I'm eating something. You know, there's very few times where I can sit down for an hour without getting up and doing something else. Or, like, even when I was a kid, like, I would, you know, I got okay grades, but like, and I mean, not to toot my own horn, but like, just based on like testing and stuff, it's like I was one of the smartest kids in the class. And I did great on testing. It was when I took the homework home and I had these more exciting things to do, I just wouldn't do the work. You know, even though having good grades was a high priority of mine. And more things. Like, I was assigned to read a book at my job. Everybody at my job is like a corporate thing. Like, they had a make your team function better kind of book, right? It was like a 200-page book, and because it was a work assignment, I had to time myself so I could get paid to read the book, right? I had to clock the hours. I come in, and I'm like, hey, have you guys read this book yet? It was okay, and they were like, no, and I said, oh, don't worry about it. It only took me like 4 hours to read this book, and other people started coming in and saying that it only taken them an hour and a half, 2 hours. Pause. I'm gonna wait until these goddamn sirens go by. I'm so sick of this bullshit. You're not gonna believe this, but they parked literally outside my window. I can't win. I can't escape the sounds. It's fine. I'm gonna actually have to close my window. It's hot as fuck in here. Okay. Literally 2 fire trucks, like 9 firefighters just outside. They may be coming in here. Who knows? We may have guest feature on this vlog. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So people were coming back in and they said, oh, this only took me an hour and a half, 2 hours to read. And the first time I heard it, I was sort of like nudging my boss, like, they're fucking bullshitting. They didn't read that book because it took 4 hours for me to read, and I'm really smart. So I got like a perfect score on my reading comprehension on the ACT. So they're just bullshitting. They didn't read it. No. Actually, it wasn't my boss. I wasn't narking on anyone. It was, I don't know who it was, but I wasn't narking on anyone. Don't think that about me. I wasn't. But anyway, but then people from my team started coming in and saying, yeah, it took me an hour to read too. It took me 2 hours to read. And I was like, so you're telling me that I read 2 to 4 times slower than the average person? Why? Why would I read 2 to 4 times slower than the average person? And it's something I found to be true once I bought a Kindle. Because when you buy a book, an ebook, it gives you a time estimate for how long it takes to read the book. And it takes me twice as long. So anyway, and a long story short, I think it's because I am not able to focus on what I'm reading. And I have to read very slowly, and double back, read again. And it's so weird because it's like, I'm not obligated. I'm 34 years old. I'm not obligated to read a book. I could go the rest of my life and never read a book, you know, but I like to read. Reading is important to me. Learning is important to me. And so, yeah, I'm rambling, and I'm not even sure that all of this is related to possibly ADHD, which, by the way, I'm fully convinced I have now. And I'm anxiously awaiting this November meeting where I'm going to be professionally assessed, because if I can take Adderall and focus and like not have this fucking thing at work where I have to, it happened today. It happened today where I looked at my phone on lunch break at about 11 o'clock. I put in a D+ of work after it because I could not stop cycling through the different things I was looking at. And I kept taking breaks, and I couldn't refocus. It drives me crazy. It is one of the most, Like, at this point in my life, this is one of the biggest challenges I have. Like, it's funny, I was telling to my friend Will that, when I was self-medicating with alcohol, it was so crude, you know? I had these huge life problems, and I was just throwing jet fuel on them, you know? But now that I'm sober, and I'm sort of like fine-tuning my mind, it's like, with all of these new psychiatric medications I'm on, that's Monkey, by the way, he's still alive. Um, it's like the difference between like having your cousin fix your car and having a NASCAR mechanic fix your car. Like, I am being fine-tuned. So now the big problems in my life are things like I really can't focus very good at all. And actually, maybe that has been a root problem for me all along that I was never able to discover because I was an alcoholic. And also, he told me a statistics which I've now Googled this, and it seems like the answer is closer to 25% from my Google research. Of course, I would know better than a literal psychiatrist from a Google search, but the actual psychiatrist said to me that up to 40% of people who are alcoholics have ADHD. And the reason is that the hangover mimics the effects of Adderall. I mean, I've taken Adderall. It doesn't feel the same, that's for sure. But he said physiologically, it mimics the effects of the medicine that helps ADHD. And I am just, if I'm floored, I'm absolutely floored. Because then I talked to my therapist about it. For anyone who doesn't know, a psychiatrist is able to prescribe medication. Therapist is someone that you talk to and is trained in like behavior and that sort of thing. So I talked to my therapist, and she, I guess, is a part of a research group about, I've never used this word to describe myself. I feel like I've always felt like it was kind of internet speak, that I just didn't feel like an in-group connection to it all. But she works on neurodivergence mental issues, right? I know she works with people with autism, and I guess that she's also part of this research group that includes ADHD, because I guess ADHD is autism's cousin, as she told me. And she said that immediately, as someone who specializes in this sort of thing, that once I mentioned it, she was like, huh, yeah, maybe. So she had me do another big thing is she had me do, because, like I said, I've always kind of thought maybe I have some autism. I have some trouble making friends, the sensory issues, that's the big one. The sensory issues, other things. But anyway, she had me take a formal diagnostic autism test, and I do not have autism, which lends credence to the idea that I probably have ADHD, because I don't have autism. I have all of these symptoms. And yeah, it's a mind blower to me, because it's like, okay, if I have a developmental disability that is not tied to my trauma, that changes my entire understanding of my own mental health. Here, I thought I couldn't be shocked. But what if I have a developmental disorder? And it's possible for me to take a medicine that would fix it, or at least help it, treat it. What would that even be like? I mean, I've taken Adderall before. I don't think that's a surprise for someone who was in active addiction for 15 years. I used to smash them up. and put them in pen cap so that I could take them to the library and while I was doing my homework. But I never actually took them medicinally before. So anyway, all that to say, I'm pretty freaking excited about therapy, and I'm so glad once again, just being sober is so worth it. Because if I hadn't gotten sober, I would not be having this conversation right now. I wouldn't have even considered it. Because I was just muddling everything in my brain with alcohol. How about that? Other big news today. Sorry, I know I just went on like a 20-minute tangent about possibly having ADHD, but whatever. This is my channel. If you're watching this far, you were a real fan, so thank you so much. I really appreciate you so much. And this clip is just for you. So guess what I did today? So remember how I totaled my car? Well, I spent my entire emergency fund and I bought a new car. I literally have $200 in the bank right now. And foolish? Maybe. But my totaled car that I've been driving has started making some very alarming noises. And I refuse to put a single penny into fixing it. It is ugly. It is terrible. I hate it. So I went out and I bought myself a nice new car. And here's a shot from the car dealership. The guy working on the engine, he was installing a new engine. He was a very cute sales associate. And yeah, she's got 200,000 miles, and but the outside looks good. There's only a little bit of rust, which in Minnesota is like, whoa. It is a 1998 Toyota Corolla, and I'm happy. So anyway, so that's my life update. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you. And this was a weird long one. I don't really ever do, I don't usually do half-hour plus videos anymore. So, okay, bye.